Hey guys, this is Jeff Richardson, and you are listening to From Nothing to Profit.
Welcome to From Nothing to Profit, a photographer's podcast with Matt and Kaya, where each week they talk to photographers about what is working in their business now so you can swipe those ideas and grow your business faster.
Welcome to From Nothing to Profit. We are so excited today to be interviewing one of my very closest friends in the photography industry. I feel like he's kind of my brother, Jeff Richardson. And Jeff and I met many years ago, probably 20 years ago, when we were probably just out of college. And I remember an image that he had photographed, and it was at the National Senior Photographers Convention. And it was a couple standing in front of a railroad, and they were just draped all over each other. Super provocative image. And Jeff was dressed very conservatively. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have to get to know this guy. And so anyway, we're excited to introduce Jeff to you. He would call himself a maverick in the photography industry. He's been a photographer for 24 years, and I know that he specializes in luxury portrait photography. So Jeff, we are so excited to have you here today.
I am pumped to be here. This is super exciting. And are you hearing me right now?
You're coming through just fine. So
okay,
Jeff and I have known each other for a number of years as well. We spoke at some conferences together, and he's an amazing person to be around. And Jeff, I don't know if I ever appreciate you while I'm with you.
That's amazing, actually.
But I know I appreciate you when you're not around me, because the mental game that you cause when I'm not around you, like from conversation, like we're having a conversation at a conference, and I'm like, yeah, and then I leave, and my mind is going a million miles an hour, and I'm like, it's just so weird. Like
you're like, wait, what did he say? Oh, yeah. Crap! Oh my God! Yeah, that's. I would say we have a very rich history in the photography industry. Would be putting it mildly.
Right.
I'm very passionate about our history. I think it's fantastic and lots of good things in the future. That's for sure. So yeah, I'm pumped to be on this with you guys. I see what you guys are doing. It's very cool. The consistency is already starting to show, and we're excited to be a part of it. I would say I'm very. I don't want to sound like a douche, but I'm very selective on my photography education. Where I throw that out at, and I don't yet know why, but I'm excited to be on this with you guys. I think it's super fun. So anyway, how do we start this thing? What do you want to know from me?
Yeah, just any other expertise? Is there any expertise that you want to share that Kaya didn't share in terms of what you want? Because
we've got to jump. We want to keep this somewhat short, but I mean So I was actually thinking about when Kaya was give me the introduction. I think it's been right at 20 years since I met Kai. I was trying to think. So we installed our phase 1 digital system on set 9/11/2001, which is a whole other story. But and Kai I think you guys had switched just prior to that. I feel like had gone like phase. So I think we met in 1998 at SP, which is be exactly 10 years from now. And that's when I first, we had then maybe the next following year we had dueling portfolios that were up for senior photographer of the year, or kind of that were in the higher competition thing. And I'm like, wait, this girl's work is really good too. Dang it. So what is this person? Who is this person? And we instantly just kind of, with our family history in photography, we kind of instantly became I guess almost like brother, sister, kind of what are you doing? What are you doing? No, what are you doing? No, what are you doing? This is working. This is not working. Just all this constant back and forth. And then obviously a huge evolution through Seniors Ignite, or through SPI, which is Senior Photography International, and then SPA. And there's just so much history that's just rich. Anyway, so when you say expertise for me, I mean, so a little bit about me. I was raised Pentecostal, because Kai was talking about being conservative. I was raised Pentecostal, and I was homeschooled. So those two items in my early childhood, I think looking back, give me a kind of a strong appreciation for tradition and order. And yet then they also kind of the juxtaposition of that, the homeschooling causes me to kind of question everything and why is this happening and why are we doing it like this? So that's kind of developed my personality, I guess, so to speak, in the industry. If you were asking me what my expertise is, I would say that posing humans very naturally and flattering and almost in an emotional evoking kind of way, kind of finding the best light for face shape, body shape, And then moving a step further on how to break down kind of family dynamics and expose underlying relationships and emotions in portrait photography is probably what I seek out and probably enjoy the most. And then translating that into kind of an upscale consumer portrait photography experience. So you take some of those skills and knowledge of the industry, and then you move that into kind of a brand, and kind of really translates into where I'm at right now with Richardson Studio in my career. So anyway, does that give you a little bit of kind of my insight on quote expertise?
And you're definitely known, for your senior portrait work. I mean, I know you and your wife do other stuff as well, but
yeah, it's funny you say that, because we're actually in the process of trimming that down to a very honed, because we might circle back around to that at some point, but right now, positioning yourself in the industry, being something for everybody is not awesome. We're merging baby family. We're merging that into one kind of category, and then senior and portrait. So senior family, edgy lifestyle, senior family photography, upscale is where we're at with the portrait side, and then we have the corporate commercial side. So we're basically going like family, senior, corporate is where we're going with our brand. Really kind of narrowing down to, well, just content. So I guess for people.
Content, yeah. I think that's a perfect word. And then the other thing too, Jeff, is you're second generation photography. Is that right? Or third?
At least second. I would say probably third would be more accurate. My grandpa my dad's dad had a print shop / tabloid, like local tabloid. So he was a printer / photographer, sort of, so to speak. And then of course my dad was a full-time commercial and portrait photographer and still is. And then I would say third would be a fair assessment.
Be most accurate, yeah.
Yeah, I think except for maybe a couple $1,000 that I made when I was roofing houses in high school, every single dollar that I have ever made in my entire life has come from photography. It's really wild when you look back at it. Like there's no other source of income except for creating a photograph, someone liked it, and they purchased it. It's bizarre. Completely bizarre.
Yeah, that's really cool.
So on that note, then, talking about, every single dollar that you've made in your life has come from photography. Obviously, you've been through all kinds of changes over the years. So what would you say is the story of what you think is working now for your business? You started to talk about it a little bit, but
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so narrowing down is where we're getting into our specific genre. I would say attention to detail is what's working. And making it really, really good, and then once you make it good, make it a little better. Like I'm very self-critical, but right now I'm like, oh, damn it, my work just needs to be better. I need to see something better out of myself, and so I wake up every day kind of like trying to improve the experience and what's missing and where the gaps are at, and then how's our client reacting to what I'm creating, and then you can kind of follow the market changes a little bit. Sorry, I feel like I interrupted you.
No, that was perfect. But so what's an example of like a thing you've seen that you've changed, or something that you're like, okay, I need to work on this?
Well, I mean, I recently just went through at the beginning of the year, I just sold all my camera gear, got rid of all of it, and bought all new Nikon gear, new D850s, new lenses. I thought my lenses were soft. I bought all new pro photo gear. I was like, I need better light, better consistency, better tools to do my job. And I want my work to stand out. It has to be. And then now it's like locations. I don't know. I was kind of just throwing away everything I'm looking at in the industry and going to like, what does art look like? What are people investing in when it comes to content and art? What do they need? And what's happening? So here, I'll give you a backstory. So there's this I was randomly on Facebook the other day, just one morning, getting up, doing my morning kind of routine, going through things that inspire me. And I came across on Facebook of all places, a band called Joe Bonamassa. Have you guys ever heard of this band?
No, I haven't.
It's like this old school luxury high end. He's got a girl plays this I'm not even sure. It looks like a violin. They're very Middle Eastern. And he's doing a remake of Conway Twitty the Rose, and it is the visual, and so the visual work, the visual video content. He's performing at the Chicago Theater. It's just really, really good. And I'm looking at it, and so I'm listening to it. And I'm playing. I'm like, but this is incredible. So I'm like, so I tap over. So it's a sponsored link on Facebook. So I tap over into it. I'm like, so I get up on. So I go all the way from listening to some of his music to checking out where like he's in Chicago, the Chicago Theater on our anniversary. And I'm like, oh my gosh, Michelle and I would love this. We go to Chicago, go to date. This would be super cool. Didn't do it, but literally followed his content all the way to almost clicking buy on $800 tickets at Chicago Theater. And I'm like, wait, what has happened? And it literally came from extremely good high-end content. And so that's kind of my position is if we're going to stand out, we just got to be better. I'm sorry. We got, if we're going to stand out from mom togs, and I mean, you can bleep this out, or shit togs, or whatever you want to call them, Insta togs. We've got to stand out. The quality as professionals, we have the resources. We actually have the resources to make our work better. So I think it's time to make our work better. So
I like to think of them as future professional portrait photographers, and we can help them become that.
I mean, that's yes, in a sense that you're right. I mean, we're going to let's raise the game a little bit. That's why I agreed to do this. So.
Yep.
Yeah, and but you felt like this for a while. I mean, obviously you're working on different things right now, but I mean, this has been an ongoing conversation because I've known you for like 4 or 5 years.
It is about us. I'm ADD, ADHD, dyslexia, whatever. I get super bored in a hurry.
Yeah.
So I decided,
homeschooled. I seriously did not know you were homeschooled, but so many of my friends and cousins and so many people I know are. And I think just being able to self-direct what you're learning and what you're doing.
I think that's yes.
Now you're like, this is what I'm going to do next. This is what I'm going to do after that. And the next thing, I think that's part of that.
It tends to leave a trail of destruction sometimes in your path, so you have to be a little careful on who your inner circle is, and like, oh, sorry about that. I still love you. I promise. I didn't mean to like walk completely over you.
Yeah. Well, and I think just knowing you for a while, I think that your view on risk is higher than a lot of people. Like you're willing to like sell like your gear and invest in new stuff and just see if it works out. Where other people I
actually bought Sony. I bought all Sony gear, and it was cool, but I just couldn't get past the whole the single lens reflex. I had to see my subjects in real time, so I actually took it all back, like 28,000 worth of gear. Took it all back up and to Robert. So I'm like, hey, guys, I can't use this. So
this isn't working for me.
He's like, so you're inside the window. It's cool. Just no problem, Jeff. And so they were great, but. Yeah, that was super risky. So anyway, so kind of like, following my pattern, I basically I had my heart quit working in like 2011. I was born with like a congenital defect. So the whole like you're going to die probably kind of hits you. So then I'm kind of like, let's just do this. Let's
live a little.
Let's live a little, and let's do it right. So that kind of transitioned me from the like when I started Richardson Studio in 2007 to like this like 180 seniors a year, get them in as much as you can, senior models, just bam, 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 cranking it out, to more like, what if we do a little better job? What if we try to raise the order average? It's possible. So, and it succeeded. I mean, I went from shooting 160, 170 seniors a year at a $1,700 average to shooting like 80 seniors. My target is 80 seniors at 3,000. That's my goal target all the time. And so, 2016, we hit that, and it's a better place. I will definitely.
It's a better place. Yeah,
it's definitely a better place.
Yeah,
that's awesome. So
way off track. Sorry.
No, you're perfectly on track. So what's one thing that you're fired up about, like in the industry, or like, when you talk to people about the industry, what do you hold true, or what are you excited about? Tell me what's going on.
I don't know, man. It's a tough.
What makes you mad? I think that might be
That's a better discussion for me. No, I mean, I don't know that I'm actually fired up about anything in the photography industry. What I do see though is the rapid change is giving me some energy. Like the fastest, I don't think there's going to be a photography industry in 24 to 36 months. I think there will be incredible content creators and really, really, really good artists. And so that fast-paced change is giving me a ton of energy right now because I'm processing, what digital files look like and how to market those as a product. And I mean, like really market those as a product and that kind of transition. So yeah, I mean, I'm fired up about the change. The economy's bustling. So if we can really find our niche and our expertise, there's some big things that are happening. It's not so much in like photography, but it is. It's in graphing with light, with photons, and creating work for people. So it's kind of a roundabout. I guess I'm evading the question, but
No, but you and I have had conversations about this for years about where the industry's going and stuff. And I think we're starting to hit another like inflection point where it feels like it's moving faster and there's more people adopting this idea. And
I 100% agree.
yeah. And it's just so sometimes, those inflection points can be scary, but also sometimes you just have to put your head down and just go into them and figure it out,
It is. It's making content for. I mean, the one. Just if you want some inside tip on what I'm working on and what I'm excited about is what some of the photographers are not doing for themselves, and teens and Instagram photographers are just crushing this. Is we're not making content for ourselves, and I am for our own selves. In 2019, yes. My schedule is already filling up. I just got off the phone with just a little bit ago with a photographer I'm flying in who's coming to shoot content for us. We are going to create new work for ourselves. We're going to show what we do. And it's just crazy. So we have content. That's what I'm fired up about, is showing what we do and why it's better and how much knowledge and how much energy and how much passion goes into the work that we create.
Because you're going to start telling your story.
Yes.
And, yeah.
We just talked to Jamie Swanson, who flies a photographer across the country 4 times a year to create content for her.
Oh my gosh! Awesome. Is that? Have you guys released that yet? Is that out? Or?
No.
Okay. Yeah.
I can't wait to hear that schedule will be, but
it has to have. I mean, I kind of took a little break in it. We did it like 2 years ago, and we took a little break, and now I'm desperately in need of fresh content because our path and our visions change just a little bit. So, but yeah, your branding for your business. So your business, I guess you call it personal branding. Your business is a person. Your business has a personality, and so when you define the core values of we just had a branding expert come in from Ohio, and we spent some time going through his process and kind of labeled our business as a person. It was fun. We had to name it, and the artist formerly known as Frank. So we come up with something funny. But anyway, we had to come up with personality traits and values of our business as a person. And interestingly, as we got through the process, the 3 words that define the Richardson Studio or the RS personality traits were superior, true, and I just forgot because it's been. Hang on, they're on mine. Colorful. That was Michelle's. Yeah. Michelle's color. No, it was epic, and that's kind of we're working on that. But it's colorful, superior, and true.
Okay.
So those are not so much words that you market with, but they're like words that you check your content against. So when you're pushing something out on social media, you're like, is this superior? Is this colorful? And is this true? And you're like, oh yeah, it is. So then, okay, that reflects my brand's personality. It's almost like a filter that you can run your content through, and so then you're always speaking to your target client. And of course, I'm off on a rabbit trail again, but this
is awesome.
No, it's very good.
Anyway, okay. So fun.
It's time for the lightning round, Matt. Okay, so Jeff, you have just previously said that you've hardly ever made any money except through photography.
Correct.
So our question that we ask a lot of people is, what was holding you back from becoming a full-time photographer? So my question for you is, were you ever worried about doing that? Did you ever think you were going to do something different, or did you always know you were going to be a photographer?
It's interesting because that was a 17, 18-year-old brain that didn't. No, unfortunately, my parents pushed me into something that they thought that I would succeed at. So as I finished up homeschooling, I had some choice. We were a very conservative family. And my parents are amazing, and they gave us every freaking opportunity. But my choices were, I was a gearhead, so I was obsessed with cars, fast cars and engines. And so that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to go to mechanic school and work on cars. And I think my parents were just like, that is just a dead end street, bro. That is not something you need to be doing. And then of course we had a couple Bible schools that were really big in our church. So we had there was one in Pennsylvania, there was one else. So I had a couple Bible school choices, or it was like, man, our studio is big, get right to work in the studio. So those were kind of and I'd worked a summer doing roofing, and I was really good at it, but I was like, oh hell no, there's no way I'm putting roofs on the rest of my life. And so that's when Dad's super awesome studio with air conditioning and nice people that are dressed nice started to appeal to me. And so I just jumped right into that, and he was, he sent me to what is a Winona Institute of Photography. So all their programs, I was out the door to Chicago, come back, work back to Chicago. Then they moved it to Atlanta. I went to Atlanta and just started to develop the hardcore film shooting. I studied with Monty Zucker, with Don Blair, all these the greats of the industry, to learn like human portrait photography and come back and kind of had a knack for it. So just kept, so honestly, no, I mean, I knew I didn't want to sweat and put roofs on. So I chose photography, and here we are.
That leads to the next question, which is, what's the best advice you received? Because you have worked with some of these really, some of the best photographers ever. So did they give you advice, or do you get advice from somewhere else?
I've had a lot of advice given to me, and I've ignored a lot of it over the years. And
I was going to say,
I was super douchebag and just not listen and talk over people. But probably the best advice that finally resonated with me, that hit home, was assume the person you are talking to knows more than you. And it's one of the hardest things for me to do, but it is like, it's awesome. Because I was just shooting a wedding over the weekend, and there's this like videographer guy shooting, and I'm like, dude, who is this guy? And he's like, whatever. I'm like, why is he shooting videos? And then come to find out, he's like a freaking chemical engineer. I'm like, Jeff, just shut up and assume the person that you're talking to knows more than you. It's the best advice I could give anybody.
That is very good.
Yeah, that's really, really good.
Okay, so what is one of your personal habits that you think contributes to your success?
Johnny Walker. Scotch.
I know you haven't been.
You're not that big of a drinker. Give me a break.
No, I drink like one drink a week. Are you kidding me?
You just drink to post on Instagram.
Oh, I just drink to post on Instagram. You're exactly right. It's only for the boomerang. Let's be honest. Personal habits. So I'm have some rote. It's mostly like the first part of the day is really important to like kind of have a light plan. It's almost like the personal habit that I would probably describe is to make sure you start off right and then close right, because if you can't, your brain you can't reset, and it leads to fatigue and just like, so if I have any personal habits, it's making sure that I start it and finish the day with something, start it right, get your brain going in the right direction, and then close the day with like closure, whatever that looks like. With conversations with family, if it's dinner, if it's finishing a project or leaving a project where to pick up on it the next day. Otherwise, my brain will just run all night long, and it leads to become tired. And so the personal habit that I try to exhibit most is, let's start this day off in the right mindset. And another one someone gave it to me a couple years ago. It's called the 5-minute journal. And I don't know if you guys have ever heard of this, but basically it's like, my brain's up and down all the time. So this journal it's basically you write down so you start in the morning, write down 3 things that would make today great. You just write those, what would make today great? You write those down. And then you write a couple affirmations down, like, I am awesome, I am epic, I am going to not eat cheeseburgers today. Whatever you want to say, you just write down a couple affirmations. And then you basically go, through your day. Before you sit down and go to bed at night, you write down 3 amazing things that happened that day. And then you write down 2 things that could have made it better. And it literally takes 5 minutes to do this. And the amount of endorphins it releases and serotonin is just unfreaking believable. Like, it puts you on an even keel to where you're just like, you're super grateful all the time for every word, for the carpet, for the smells, for like, it's just, I don't know how to explain it, guys, but like this 5-minute journal, literally like it basically balanced my life out big time. So
that's awesome. So I don't know if this is a personal habit, but I'm going to describe something that I think you do a really good job of.
Okay.
That I've read in books, and I don't know if it's a habit, but so somewhere along the lines, I read this material where you have to like self-identify with something or call yourself something. So there's this level like where like we started a podcast and we're recording podcasts, but then there's a point where you become a podcaster.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it's like, It's a different level. Mm-hmm. You're constantly telling me like, I'm not this, I'm trying to be this. So you're like, I'm not, I'm not a photographer, or I'm not a photo taker, I'm not whatever you decide, and you push back against that and try to push yourself into another thing, which I think is really good.
Another category. It creates self-learning. Yeah, it does. So, that's awesome.
Yeah. So
making notes of what I'm good at. Thanks, Matt.
Yeah. Because a couple of years ago, you said I'm not a picture taker.
I'm not. No, can't.
Because that's not what you were trying to do. You were trying to like get deeper into what your clients wanted and stuff like that. And if you're just a picture taker, then all you need to know was equipment, Yep.
And then the science of it.
Yeah. So
it's awesome.
Do you have any internet resources that
The 5-minute journal I was just talking about, it's not really an internet resource. It's there's this app called it's called WeCroak, and basically the premise of it is that everyone I share this with thinks I'm like super morbid. So you guys can give me your opinion on this. But basically, it's an app that sends you a push notification that says you're going to die. Open for a quote. And the point of it is, so in Bhutan, contemplating death 5 times a day brings happiness. So it just pushes this little push notification says you're going to die. Open for a quote. You can swipe it over. It has a fun quote. Sometimes I put them on my story. But the point of it is you could be going through something like completely ridiculously stressful or not stressful or arguing with somebody or something that just seems like completely insanely like, oh my God, this sucks. And you get that push notification and you literally will just laugh out loud. You're like, oh yeah, I'm going to die. So this is not important. Love you. Next. Right. It's amazing. Like it's literally my favorite thing. Like WeCroak.
Yeah, no, I think that's good. I've never heard of it.
It's dumb. I know it's completely dumb, but the app is called WeCroak, and it reminds you that.
Are the quotes any good?
The quotes are amazing. Yeah, absolutely. I'll send you the link to it. You can put it in the quotes are incredible. I mean, there's about 500 quotes that they pulled in, and it's everything from Steve Jobs to Gandhi to Pete Wentz. I mean, it's just random things that have been stated throughout the course of history that kind of reflect, chill out, bro. There's a greater purpose we're working for here.
Yeah. So where do you along those same internet resources? So where do you get some of your inspiration from? Because you're always pushing the envelope and doing really cool stuff. So like, where does some of that come from? Do you have an internet resource that you go to for inspiration, or not really?
Not really. I mean, I see when it's all visual, so I'm very visually inspired. So when I see something that is like, whoa, that's really good, or that's amazing, I will spend 2 hours researching who did it and why. So I want to know so if I see say it's just, incredible advertising photography, for example, Kendall Jenner for Adidas, I'm going to find who the art director was. I want to find out who it's for, what time of year they shot it, what studio they shot it in, what lights they used, who was directing this. I want to find out the content. I love context. Context for me is my favorite word. What is the context of this, and why are we doing it, and how can we make it better? Context explains everything. And if you get in the whole discussion with me and my buddy John Pyle talk about what's too sexy for senior pictures and what's not and all this stuff. And it's all about context. It's about the context of what you're doing. So no, I don't have a, so to speak, internet resource, but that's
makes sense.
That's my passion, is context.
Yeah, no, that's good. And there's been a number of things that you've pointed out to me over the years that you have. It's like you knew way more than I thought you would know about it, because you spent 2 or 3 hours.
Obsessive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Okay. And Jeff, the other day when we were talking, you were telling me all about a book you were reading.
Oh, yes. Still obsessed with it. Jordan Peterson. Jordan B. Peterson. My mom actually turned me on to it. I just heard. But anyway, this guy's going to be the savior of the current, whatever we're in right now. Jordan B. Peterson, 12 Rules for Life, An Antidote to Chaos. Get it, read it, and then call me back. It is the most amazing thing. It's awesome because it is blatant common sense, like blatant common sense.
But is it like pull you out of the perspective you're in and put you in a perspective you should?
Pulls you out of the perspective that you're clouded from social media and all the influences, and puts you in the correct perspective. For example, rule number, I forget what rule it is, but don't lie. Tell the truth, but at least don't lie. Well, we all know you shouldn't lie, but the context again of it is, like, in situations, like when someone asks you, "Hey, do you like this couch?" Don't lie and say you like the couch. Like, no, I think this would look better if we went to 2 chairs and a table. It's about, does that make sense? Or if you're working on a large business deal, if you're talking about the clients that you're dealing with, if you're talking about the color of the paint, the car you drive, your relations, your interpersonal relationships with your family, tell the truth, or at least don't lie. That's one of his rules. And it just, once you click, it's just, I mean, it just hit me like a ton of bricks in the face. Like, whoa. Anyway, it's a good book. You won't leave that book with a bad feeling, no matter what your political leanings are, no matter what your views are. If you, and it's a hard read. Like, I had to get the audiobook and the paper copy and follow along and then pause and let my brain push it back into my ears and then start over. It's just it's amazing. I recommend everyone get this book and read it.
That's awesome.
Any other books that you, over the years, that you, were inflection points in your life?
Nothing I can think of right now, but yes, there are. I mean, the whole, what's the what's the guy that the book? Oh my gosh, I just went blank. But it's the one I read when I started my business. I'll have to find it. And what is the name of the? Oh my
You're talking
gosh.
about like E-Myth or something?
E-Myth, yeah. Sorry, E-Myth. Just went blank. Yeah, E-Myth is like one of my favorite books ever. It's kind of set me off on the.
We have this theme where everybody that comes on the podcast has to, at least anybody that comes on the podcast has to like say that E-Myth is a book, and because I've never finished it, and so I feel like Kaya like plants seeds, like
E-Myth. It's very, it's.
I don't care if you
it's awesome.
read that book, Matt. I got really mad. I've read it twice, and I get mad every time I read it because I'm like, dang it, I haven't done anything that's on it.
So simple. Like that's.
I know it makes me feel like I'm. Gosh.
Yeah, it's a classic that you have to have. I don't read. I read like
intensely when you read.
I read short, intense pieces, and they could be. Yeah, it's really. I read a lot. I read constantly on my iPhone. I read more than I listen, but I read like someone wrote this like what's an article that's like takes you 16 scrolls to get through.
Something like a blog or something like that.
Like a really long, big blog. And then I go back and, of course, do what I do to everything. Context. Who wrote this? Why did they write it? What's their context? What do they do? How do they make money? All these interesting things. And then find out if it's applicable to the direction I'm looking to go and want to move my life and my family. So, fun.
Okay.
Very fun. Have we talked about anything photography related, I hope?
Tons of it. It's been fantastic. So are we ready for parting guidance?
Yeah, let's do parting guidance.
Okay.
So share any parting guidance you have with us or with our audience. And then also any ways that people can follow you and connect with you and stuff like that.
Oh man. Parting guidance is just like, just take a minute and look over everything you're doing and look at areas that you think you can improve, and then seek out the people who are doing it better than you, or do you think, or seek for inspiration. So just find parting guidance. Find one thing that you really want to improve. Just one single thing, and then work on that, and forget everything else. And forget like I need to fix this and fix this and fix this and fix this. Just one thing, and then work on it, and then you can move on to the next. And you'll find that you'll find that like right now we're working on this content project. That's it. We're working on content. We're going to get this amazing, and then we'll go off to the next project. Otherwise, you just become too overwhelmed with all the and I think that translates back to the rapid changes in the industry. If we just find that one thing that we want to improve and get after it, you'll see some major reward from that.
Yeah, because it's better to work on one thing at 100% than 5 things at 20%.
Right, and then you add to it like to add to that ratio, to just do it. Just get after it, because imperfect action always beats perfect inaction. Like, I'm not going to start this because I can't. You guys are doing a podcast. Is it perfect? I don't know. Probably not. But it's freaking awesome. It's a podcast. It's amazing. It's happening. So, you look back, a buddy of mine started a dental marketing show. And when we first started working with him, and he was in his office, he's like spinning his ring and his bad audio quality and a weird t-shirt. And but he looks up and he's done 100 episodes of this dental marketing show. And now it's like the go-to resource for marketing in the dental. It is the show. Like, it's produced, it's got, he's got people working for him, and it's literally from just like doing it. Like, just go.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so how can people connect you? Do they follow you on Instagram? Where's the best place to
I think Instagram is by far the easiest way. Just at Richardson Studio. Super simple. The Instagram DM, there's the email links in there. But love to hear from people. Connect, say hi, follow us. And but I don't have anything photography related. I have no agenda that I'm trying to sell to anybody. It's I'm a
consumer. Just being a good photographer.
Yeah, I'm a consumer and corporate photographer, and those are my clients, and I care deeply about my client relationships, my family relationships, and the quality of our work. So, but I love to connect with people who share that same sentiment. So, yeah, hit me, HMU, hit me up.
Yeah, I think you do a really good job of holding the bar for the industry and saying like, this is what's possible. And a lot of us look up to you and that bar all the time, trying to reach that.
It's very, very kind, very fun.
Cool.
Okay, thank you, Jeff.
Did we miss anything? Did we cover it all? I feel like we skipped around a lot. But
no, that was perfect. So awesome, Jeff. Well, everybody, Jeff Richardson, the no BS episode is what I'm going to call it.
Sure.
Yeah. So thanks a lot, Jeff. We'll connect with you soon. So
you guys are welcome. Awesome. See you.
See you next week, guys.
Thank you for listening to From Nothing to Profit, a photographer's podcast with Matt and Kaya. Be sure to subscribe for more business strategy and ideas to help you create the profitable and successful business you've always wanted. See you on the next episode of From Nothing to Profit.